Creo que mañana van a hacer.
Hello.
Hello.
I
can hear you, Luis. I can hear you.
Can or can't?
I can. I am able to.
That's good. What about a good afternoon now?
Professor Gonzalez, hi.
Hello, hello.
Oh, nice to see you.
I'm giving access to everyone, okay?
Okay. Okay. Okay, there's a lot of people already.
Oh, Dr. Posani, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Mr. Winkler, welcome. Dr. Welcome, Patty, welcome. Hi, Miren, nice to see you here. Ana Pau, hi, how are you?
Hi, Professor.
If you guys don't mind, I'll start screen sharing.
Yes, please. Let's try if that works, please.
It should.
You have
Yes.
access. You can share your screen, and if you're gonna share a video, when sharing, you have to put in the bottom left, there is a button that says share audio. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able.
I have had that problem in the past. Fortunately, it's just 100% text in my voice, so not that particular situation is not required for today.
Very well. So if everyone agrees, I will start introducing my friend.
Give me 2 seconds. Sure. Still. I know it's time. It's just some people is joining. Give me 17 seconds. Okay.
Professor Gonzalez?
I think we're ready to begin.
Okay, so may I start?
Let's then.
Yes, of course.
Thank you
Yes.
very much. Welcome, everyone. As many of you know, and for those who don't, Relmont, I am assistant professor of chemistry here in Arkansas State, and I am very, very proud to present you my old and very good friend, Luis Palomera. So as a quick info, right, Luis and I studied a major together. We took our first class together. And I was remembering some classes that we have together, especially the physics lab in which we in the same team. Yes, you can laugh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And well, 20 years after that, we are still very good friends. We just noticed that we are basically neighbors. He is currently living in Querétaro, so he will be making trouble for him from now on, okay? So about his background, well, he is an engineer in metallurgic chemistry engineering, and he's a very intelligent man. Although he went through a very, very different pathway because he built his career in the industry, okay? And that's why he's here, because he's going to share with you his experience in that area. Now, the idea of this experience, right, is that you learn what to do after the major if you're going for job hunting, okay? Luis is a headhunter. He does that for life. So he's a professional looking for human resources, okay? So please pay attention to what everything he wants to say and feel free to ask him any questions that you have about it, okay? So Luis, please, this is your classroom. Enjoy.
Well, thank you, Fernando, for the introduction. And again, welcome to this show talk. I hope everyone that's joining is able to get at least a few tips from my past experience. And as usual, this comes with a disclaimer. Do consider that this is my personal experience. What has happened to me in the past does not necessarily mean that it will be the exact same pathway to you. You may be able to reach a same result from a different path or the other way around. So I hope this conversation is fruitful to you. And if you guys don't mind, I will start. And as Fernando mentioned a moment ago, if anybody has a question, I understand we have a Q&A afterwards, but if it's something that you really want to share with the students or whomever, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, so let's start then. So I am, as Fernando mentioned, I'm a metallurgist currently working in Tata Steel. Tata Steel is the 11th biggest steel producer in the world when considering all of our facilities. Here in Querétaro, we have a business office. There are no production facilities here in Mexico. The company I work for is based in the Netherlands. So there goes off the window the first tip. You should be able to have business level English to communicate. It's supposed to be a given when we're having this discussion in English, but that does not necessarily mean that you feel confident enough in your language skills to be able to have a discussion at that technical level at work. So what will be discussed today is just, again, I'll be sharing experiences, I'll be sharing tips, tricks, and some stuff that I have been learning in the past 15 years while looking for a job and interviewing people, hiring people. And also myself, I did not start in Tata. I started at a different company. And maybe the mistakes I've made in the past serve you as a source of knowledge so that you are able, maybe not to avoid every mistake, but at least to avoid a mistake that I have made in the past, so are able to make new mistakes and learn from them. I'm going to be very brief since we only have 1 hour. And I would like to start with what Fernando mentioned a moment ago. This is related to job searching, job hunting. So I would like to start with that topic, what to be done after we graduate. And it's not so black and white because a lot of people just understand that either you keep on studying and become a professional student, do a master's, do a PhD, and then another PhD and another master, or go start looking for a job. And that does not necessarily mean they are the only options. There are several options, and you just need to sit down for a bit and think about it. So I think deciding what to do after you graduate is in itself a job. You need to dedicate time, resources, patience. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears is required. So, well, I would say one of the options. I'm going to list the options I see. The order does not necessarily mean one is more important than the other. It's just the way they popped in my mind. So as I mentioned, so you now have a bachelor's in whatever specialty you are pursuing. Uh, you can decide to stay in school and go for a master's, and that's okay. Do consider uh, to join it not because of peer pressure or just job searching panic. A lot of people I have heard that don't want to join these the job searching because they're just afraid they will be rejected, or even worse, a friend of them has been rejected in the past, and they are scared the same will happen to them. They just don't look because of panic, and I think that's a very sad situation. Uh, so if you be mm, confident or be sure that whatever decision you take is because you want it and not somebody else wants you to. What's another option? You can go look for a job. And in this case, I'm talking specifically about jobs related to whatever you decided to major in. Of course, you can go, I don't know, apply for a job uh, in the food industry, or you can go to be a cashier somewhere, or you can go to be a bank teller. But I'm thinking the main focus of having college education is to pursue that passion, that whatever makes you know interested in a specific topic. The idea is for you to pursue such passion into your professional life. So that's another option. You can go search for a job. Another very common situation, at least here in Bajío area, several of older companies are family businesses, either related or not to the industry. Maybe some of the guys that have joined here to this talk are in this position. You have been requested or required to study a specific major in order to uh, keep on the family business alive. That's another option. It could also happen. You can uh, start doing the trying to be an entrepreneur and set up a shop. Uh, the coffee cup is in there because some people think it's very easy to just open a coffee shop or restaurant. You can try, to open a small consulting business. I don't know. I mean, the options are endless. That's another option, or the last option, and the one I'm going to be very honest. The one I tend to make fun of is a lot of youngsters think that they really can make a living by recording themselves doing stupid stuff and just uploading it into YouTube. I really don't think that's an option that's really feasible, but a lot of people really think it's an option. I have heard, which I think is sad, but it's not my life. So if you think that's something that will help you, uh, achieve status in life, well, you can try. And if you achieve it, you can come back again in 3 or 4 years and tell me I was wrong, and I will be happy to oblige. I will be happy to admit I was wrong. So, in what's the point of this slide? Don't close yourselves. Don't close the panorama by yourself, because a lot of people I have talked in the past, they think they only have two options. They can work or they can study, and that's it. That's the only option. They don't think about anything else. If they decide to work, they only think about maybe one or two companies and the panorama closes again. If they decide to study, maybe they just think about joining a single university, a single program, because a friend of theirs gave them a good review, or they are just afraid of looking into different areas within Mexico, potentially maybe even in different countries. And again, the options are endless. Something that's also relevant, maybe if you decide to stay in school, something that is difficult to accept, but it's very true. Do not educate yourselves so that you are pushed out of the job market. There's a lot of people that specialize themselves so much in a specific topic that they afterwards, when they have like 2 or 3 master grades or 2 or 3 doctorates, they find difficult to find a job, because what they have pursued as an interest in their life uh, is too specialized, is too deep uh, a knowledge topic that not a lot of people is interested in that. And maybe you say, well, I did not came out of the university just to have a menial job or a desk job. I should be doing research. Well, that's 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 maybe something that you would have uh, discussed previously. Do not lock yourselves out of options just because you go with the flow, because it's very inertial. When you're in school, it's always easier to go with the flow. And I'm not sure how Arkansas University works. Back when I studied with Fernando, it is very easy to finish your bachelor's, and then some teacher you are close with says, hey, why don't you do a master's? I can give you a scholarship. And you go with the flow and you don't really think about doing something else. That is not meant to say that I don't agree with Fernando's choice. In the end, Fernando is professional enough to have knowledge enough to train the new generations, and that is always needed. But it was Fernando's decision. It was not a decision made for him, and that's what I mean. If you decide to do that, that's good. But do consider that is never the only option. There's always way more and more and more options. Okay. Okay. That will be the first slide. Any questions regarding this? Or we can, or you can, if you guys don't feel comfortable right now, you can write them down and we can go on the Q&A. I'm not sure what's the structure here, Fernando. If they can or not.
Yes, it's fine. They can openly ask questions, but I think that most of them will wait for the Q&A time.
Okay. Okay. Then let's go with the next one. Okay. So I was talking about a few of the options we could have after graduating, and maybe some of you decide, okay, let's go look for a job. And my first question would be, how many companies you guys know about here in Mexico? All Bajío area, as everybody knows, is home for the automotive cluster. And from here up to Aguascalientes, up to Zacatecas, maybe. If you go up, there's San Luis. If you go further up, there's Nuevo León. If you go down, well, there's Puebla and everything. So my question first would be, where do you want to work? What do you want to do? And this is a very critical question. This is a very critical question that you have to do. You need to ask to yourself, what do I want to do with the knowledge I have? Okay, let's take the example of the mechanical engineer. Yeah. What is his favorite area? What is his area of expertise? And based on that, okay, what which companies have open positions in which I am interested? Because I think a mistake that is commonly made is that a lot of people look for a job the other way around. They get into a company without even knowing what the company does, and they fit their skills to the companies, and then they start looking for something to do that they like within the company instead of the other way around. Uh, as a personal example, I'm a metallurgist, so when I joined Nissan, I was there for almost 6 years. When I joined them as materials engineer, and I knew I liked, to work on steel uh, and other metals, but main focus was steel, well, because 70% of the weight of the car is steel, so it's important. So in this case, well, I think the main points are the ones that are described here in the slide. Which companies are doing what you want to do, and this is a trick statement, because I have noticed that a lot of people really don't know what they want to do with their bachelor's. Okay, yeah, my family forced me, or together with my parents, I decide to study to get a college degree. But what comes after? And that is the answer to the question: what do you want to do? Do you want to have um, desk job? Do you want to, do you want to be a more a process kind of guy, to be on the shop floor? Because what I think it's, and I apologize for the language, but I think it's a very stupid answer is, I want to travel and I want to have a lot of money. Well, that, that, that can be achieved with anything, to be honest. I mean, travel wise, again, giving you a reference to my experience back in 2019, we had a very big project with a customer. I was traveling uh, almost every week. By the end of the year, I did some counting. I had spent a third of the year, that means 120 days, outside of home. I It's not enjoyable. I mean, it's cool when you travel because you want to. I mean, travel on vacation and travel to do such kind of stuff. That's nice. But a lot of people just say, "Oh, I just want to know new places and I just want to travel." Okay, yeah, but that also that is also tiresome. I mean, when you end up living out of your suitcase, from, at least from my perspective, is not nice. And okay, I have been in several countries. I have been in several places. While I was in Nissan, I visited Brazil. I visited Japan. Well, in Japan, I lived there for 2 months. I was in the U.S. I visited Argentina, and a lot of people ask me, "So, what did you see in Argentina, for example?" And I tell them, "Well, I saw my hotel room." Because by the time the day was over, I really didn't have any energy to do something else, because I was there for work. So don't close yourselves to panorama that you want a lot of money and you want just to travel. That is, to be honest, in my perspective, that is a very childish mentality. So do give it a bit of more thought. And again, if we go to the second recommendation, well, after you have decided which companies within the area you want to move, you're interested in, so you go to the corporate website and you look for the career section, and that is critical. A lot of people simply go to OCC or go to LinkedIn and don't even know about the company. Third, after you have found the company you want to work in, don't give them a generic resume. Tailor this resume to the position and the company you are applying to. Of course, if I apply to Bombardier, which, as you will know, it's very close to you guys, they are making parts for the Learjet, is not the same as the one I will be doing for GM. You should know, but maybe you don't know, that GM has an engine plant very close by here in Silao. Mazda is also close here, Honda is close here. Well, this is you guys. JFE is opening galvanizing line here in Salamanca, and they have been hiring people for the past 6 years or something. And it's JFE is the third biggest Japanese steel maker, and I would like to think that a lot of you have done, your due diligence and researched about this, but maybe you haven't. And maybe some of you are already writing down, oh yeah, this guy's telling me to research about these companies. And when you research these 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 companies, and you find no positions, then you get depressed. But don't do that. There are way many more companies. The last census around the area mentioned that from Querétaro up until Aguascalientes, we had about 600 companies related to automotive or aerospace industry. So, okay, uh, let's assume you have decided on job hunting. You have decided to start looking for a company that fits your needs and you fit theirs, of course. Something that's very important and that has become more important with newer generations is your online presence. Uh, people like me on my age bracket or older, I am almost 40. I really don't care about having Facebook. I really don't care about having a TikTok or whatever. But a lot of younger people that are finishing college are quite interested in that. And this is something that you should ask yourselves. Uh, some companies may look you up in social media, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever. So, is your social media something you would feel okay if the company looks it up? What happens when I Google one of you guys' names, and what pops up in Google? I'm not saying that you are not allowed to do whatever you want. That's okay. This is not about controlling what you do. This is about your how to say, your online presence. If you have stuff that you really feel is important to you, you know, put it on private. It's not for the world to know. It's for maybe your friends, maybe your family to know. Be careful about it. I know people that have been rejected from a position because of controversial thoughts or controversial posts or pictures or whatever on social media. So, is your social media something that I am, how to say, I am okay with sharing? If the question is no, well, clean it up. And something that's critical in this day and age, use LinkedIn or similar platforms to set up an online presence for yourselves. Okay, you guys may tell me, well, I haven't worked before, or I have worked in unrelated fields. Why is LinkedIn so relevant right now? It sets up, first, it shows interest. Second, it's easier for you to do an exercise about what you want to present the company, about yourselves. And it's another way to upload your resume. A lot of human resources specialists are looking there, and it's easier if you showcase yourself in different media instead of the single one. And also do consider that because of the pandemics we're having right now, it's not so easy to go to face-to-face interview, face-to-face meeting. So if you are able to grow a network of companies or of contacts that are working in the companies you're interested in, it's easier for you to get that position you want. And last but not least, remain available. And this is something that's I did not consider something that needed refreshing, but maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, somebody contacted me on LinkedIn after another conference I gave, and she asked me directly, "So, would you mind looking at my resume and giving me, your opinion?" And I did so. And in her personal data, she had a couple of phone numbers. Below it had a very big caps letter note. It says, "My reception is very bad, so please only contact me by email." And I was like, okay, if so, then why put your phone numbers? And if your reception is very bad, maybe it's related to the area you live in. You cannot help that. But I mean, if you have internet, you can use Skype. I mean, to me, that was a very poor excuse, and I made a comment to this girl. I told her, "Well, I think you're just making excuses. Remaining available with a cell phone in your hand is something that's no longer a problem." So remain available, stay connected. Since a lot of potential employers are now using technology, to do interviews, well, take care of your cell phone. A lot of people may contact you via your cell phone for a face-to-face meeting. That's very common now. And if you don't make yourself available when you are on the hiring process, from my perspective as a potential employer, why do I think you are interested in this? You may not. And why are you better than other candidates that can pick up the phone as soon as I call them? I think I heard somebody trying to make a question. So if you want to make it, yeah, please go on. I guess not. So these are my tips, my opinion on the matter.
Luis, I have a question.
Yes, Fernando, please go on.
So I've been taking some notes about what you've been saying, and something that I find interesting is that you use a lot LinkedIn, right, for screen and shared profiles in order to hire. Is that correct?
That's To be honest, I normally, because I don't have Facebook anymore, I don't go into people's profiles except for LinkedIn. So in LinkedIn, at least it's easier for me to check, for example, their past job history. In some cases, because it's the automotive industry, a lot of people, and it's always the same people. So maybe they had coworkers that I am familiar with, so I can ask them. But I am not sure if that happens in other sectors. In automotive, is very common.
Got it. For example, if you are looking for, I don't know, people, or you're trying to cover a position like for someone who is just brandly graduated, what would you look in their LinkedIn profile? What's the information that you would screen on a just recent graduate student?
Okay, so first of all, what projects did he work in during his college stay? Uh, I'm not sure how Arkansas State works. If they have like research stays during summer or stuff like that, similar to what we had in UNAM.
Yeah,
That
similarly,
kind
yes, we do.
that kind of stuff is relevant because that shows an inquisitive mind. That shows the willingness to learn something else than what you speak about in the classroom. Because it's unfortunate, but it is true that a lot of students just are cool with going to class and you know doing their homework, and that's it. School is just another chore for them. It's another chore for them, and I think the lack of curiosity in some cases it's is sad. Uh, and curiosity it's something for me that is very relevant. The willingness to know, to learn something new every time.
So extracurricular activities are like a main thing in headhunting.
In some cases, yes. Again, I'm speaking for me,
Yes, but
but
just your opinion.
I think so, yes. And extracurricular activities related to whatever you want to do later on. Because
Okay.
maybe you can tell me, well, I was part of the soccer team and that's cool, but I don't care, you know?
But for example, an internship in, I don't know, in a area or topic in which the major was developed would be something that you would pick up from the LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, that would pop up, and maybe I
Okay.
would like to talk with this guy or this girl.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Continue, please.
Okay, sure. And okay, uh, let's assume we have doing all the steps we have discussed before. We have already found something I like. I found a company I like. I have cleaned up my act related my online presence, and now I have an interview. Something that's really important, and I want to stress this a lot. Like really important. You need to also do your due diligence. And what does that mean? You need first to investigate the company you're working. You are hiring in. So it's, if it's really relevant for you, you should at least go to the news and check what the company is doing. You need to know your potential employer. In the past, well, when was it 2013? We were looking for a fellow materials engineer in Nissan, and it was a very long and time-consuming job. It took us almost 3 months to look for a single person. I ended up interviewing maybe 30 or 40 people, and the vast majority of them didn't even know what the company was doing related to in automotive sector is very common. Let's say you are interested in joining, I don't know, GM, General Motors. Maybe my first question would be, okay, so where do we have plants? Okay, in which cities, and which model is produced in which plant? And that is not because a very common excuse I've heard is, well, that is confidential information, and that is totally false. You just have to go into the Wikipedia. Very simple. You go to the Wikipedia and you check it. So maybe this company has a recent investment, or maybe the other way, they are having financial problems. So again, everybody now has a cell phone or has a device which is able to very easily go online. Just do your job, Do your research. What is the company doing? What is their, the current position? Again, be curious. Have curiosity about the company you're supposedly interested in. I mean, if you decided to do something with them, if you decided to apply for a position, it's because you're interested in the company, and that's where the clash happens with what we were talking a moment ago. If you only think about traveling a lot and having money, the company is irrelevant. But then again, if you come with if your mindset is the same when thinking about the company, then most surely you won't find an opportunity. At least I wouldn't hire you, because that means that as soon as you find a company that feels whatever is your idea of a good job, you will leave. And I don't need people that leave after only 6 months or maybe a year. Or maybe I need them, but I won't pay them as much. I will just treat them as disposable workers. And of course, after having 4 years of study, I don't think that's something you would like for yourselves.
So as far as I understand, basically you are correlating interest with commitment. That's basically what you are looking for, right?
Yes, and I'm not saying commitment to the company, because that does not necessarily means it's good, but at least commitment to your career.
Okay, so basically the part of the profile that you are looking as a headhunter are committed people that
Mhm.
and that could have the actual background, right, to support what they are claiming to be.
Exactly,
Very well.
exactly. And well, my second point would be study yourself. You have submitted a resume to the company. It's surprising the amount of people that don't even remember what is written in the resume. There's a lot of people that just simply forget, or they don't know, or they, what's even worse, maybe somebody else helped them put a resume together that they did not study. So if you're giving me a document that was supposedly written by you, you should at least be able to tell me about what's written in there. And if you have experiences in there, even if they are not necessarily work experience, but you know other activities or other research you've done while you were on college, well, you should be prepared to tell me about them if I have questions about it. The next point, okay, look for contacts. Who is interviewing you? Is this person that called you first from the company you're looking for? Is it an intermediate headhunter? If it's within the company, what's their position? Can you get their email? Again, get their names. If it's a face-to-face meeting, get their presentation cards, so you have something, you at least know where to call, what is their email, blah blah blah. That is, again, that shows commitment, that shows interest. And again, maybe it can happen that you don't land this job, but you start growing your network. Now at least you can say, well, I know who the human resource uh, people are in this company or in this other one, and who knows, maybe later that information can come in handy. And it's incredible that I have to say this, but be on time. If your interview is at 11, you should be at least 15 to 20 minutes earlier there. Okay, I think all of us have maybe been in an interview that starts late. Uh, that should also tell you something about the company. Because do remember, this is a two-way street. Yes, they are interviewing you, but you are also learning about them. So if they don't have commitment to be on time, well, maybe that's not such a good company. And being on time is not an extra; it's a minimum requirement. If we have a meeting at 10 and you're traveling from somewhere else and you arrive late, well, what level of commitment is that? And something a very bad excuse I've heard in the past is, well, I am living very far from here, So what does that say? What does that tell me? That you will arrive daily late every time because you live far. You decide where to apply to a job. So if you don't think you're able to make it on time, maybe this company is not for you, and that's okay. But if you decide to apply to a job and you get the job, and then you use this distance as an excuse, well, the one that's on the wrong is you, not the company. That the company is not responsible for where you decide to live. That is your 100% decision. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, and this goes back to the same question I made you before. Why do you want to work in a specific company? These are some of the options that could explain it. There could be many more, but these are the ones I was able to get off the top of my head. So maybe it's related to company philosophy. Maybe your personal values or your personal goals align with the companies. That could be it. Maybe you go into, I don't know, green technologies or green resources like wind wind energy generation, that kind of stuff, and that is aligned to what you want to do, or what you think it's something that we should be pursuing as a species, and that's okay. Or maybe this company is so big that you have a lot of opportunities for growth. Maybe the career path is what's attractive to you. Another option, maybe their current projects are appealing. Maybe they are very interesting to you. Maybe you are doing the same research as them. You have done the same research. Maybe one of your teachers, I don't know. That's also an option. Or another option, which I think it's the least one you should consider, the convenience. Well, I'm working here because it's close by. I don't have to sweat it. I don't have to take a car. I don't have to take public transportation. Uh, that kind of decision making, it should be deeper from my opinion. But for some people, as long as it's close by, it's okay. Or for some people, they don't care much about the salary level as long as the company philosophy is aligned to theirs. Uh, and you should, it's this is to say that job deciding on a company is not only related to salary levels. It's a multi-dimensional decision. You have to take a lot of stuff in account. Maybe the salary is excellent, maybe it's close by, but if you do your research in the internet, you find that maybe the work environment is not very nice or it's not very good, but you still work there. Or maybe the other way around, the work environment is awesome, but the salary is not very competitive. Or maybe I know that some people have problems with dress codes. Maybe you have to wear a tie every day, or you have to wear a suit, and it's a problem. Or the other way around, you have to wear safety gear every day and you don't want to. I think that's from my point of view, that's a very shallow point of view, but maybe it's that relevant to you. You really don't want to be wearing safety boots every day. And well, if that's the case, I mean, start considering which companies are not going to ask you to do that, and don't don't go into a company that's only production plant and expect to land a desk job or be an engineer, and don't go into the shop floor and just have a desk job. I mean, based on what you do and what you want, you should also consider what the company has to offer you. And that's the why. Why did you select this company? And again, I think this is something very important. Okay, you have done your interview, you have done everything. You should also have a follow up. What I have done in the past and what I feel most comfortable with. Well, after you finish your interview, after you arrive home and all that stress and all that adrenaline is off, I think it's a nice gesture to send an email to the person that interviewed you. And this goes hand in hand with what I told you a moment ago. Get their contacts, get their email, get their phone. Don't send them a text. I mean, again, do a small effort, just write an email, 2 or 3 lines. Uh, Potentially, within a week, you haven't heard back from them. You can always ask them, so, uh, what's what's the process like? There are very long processes. There are very long hiring processes. For example, the one I had at Tata, they first interviewed me in September 2016, and I started working in February 2017. So we're talking about almost a 6 month timeline. It's very long, and I must accept it was very stressful. But that's how some companies work. And let's also face it, you may not land the job. That's something that will happen for sure. And don't get disheartened. Don't get depressed. Don't get sad. Maybe the job was not for you. Maybe you are not good enough for that position, no, or at least not now. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, maybe, but not now. And you have to be able to uh, be introspective enough to notice. Okay, I think I made a mistake when I was talking about this with whomever was interviewing me, and there was a very difficult question, and I didn't know how to answer back at then. So that sort of stuff you should write down, uh, so you don't make the same mistake the next time around. And that's what I would like to close with. You need to stay on target. I have always thought that looking for a job is a job in itself. So if you only do a job every now and then, every time you feel like, you are not able to get the benefits. And looking for a job is exactly the same situation from my perspective. So with that, well, I would like to thank you again for the opportunity. And well, let's get on with the questions. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of opinions and questions, so feel free to start asking, please.
Hello, my name is Andres, and first of all, thank you for the opportunity and the talk. It was
Yes,
quite helpful. So I have two questions. The
sure.
first is what as a materials engineer, what do you see the future of composites within the automotive industry? That would be the first one. And the second one is how hard is it? And I know this will sound a little bit bad, but to get out of here, to get out of Mexico.
Okay. Well, composites are no longer the future. High-end cars are are already having composite body whites. BMW has that, but so the simple answer would be they are not the future. They are already being used. Also, but you also need to consider composites are not cheap, so it's not so simple to uh, to have them in entry level vehicles. I mean, price wise, a BMW i3 is almost a million pesos. You won't have that level of technology on a Nissan Versa, which is like the first car for a Mexican family, which is the cost is like 200,000 pesos. That means 20% of the original cost. So you need to think about cost and benefit. Not a lot of people in Mexico and even in the world can pay for a luxury class vehicle. And luxury class vehicles, of course, have different technologies, different applications. But in the end, your goal as a materials engineer is, to have a safe car that a lot of people is able to purchase. It's it's not, it doesn't make sense for me to have the highest technology if only a few people can buy it, because in the end I'm a company and I want, to have business. And getting out of Mexico, my first question would be, why do you want to get out of Mexico? You don't need to answer me. Maybe it's because of politics. Maybe it's because of employee opportunities, but it's not. I would say maybe it's not that difficult. What I would mm, what I would suggest you to first answer is, why do you want to leave? After you answer that, then you start looking for opportunities and the way you want to live. A lot of countries, the US, which is close by, if you want to go to Europe, you need a work permit for you to stay over there and for you to have an actual job there. And that's not easy. I have a friend who has been looking for a green card, and it took him 10 to 12 years. And he's in IT and he's in Silicon Valley, and I understand he's very good. And yet it took him almost more than 10 years. So it's not so easy. So my first suggestion would be to do some introspection and think, ask yourself, why do I want to leave Mexico? And then after you answer that, then start looking for opportunities and consider cost of living is nowhere near the one we have in Mexico. To live in Mexico is very cheap. If you go to the US, if you go to Europe, you need a minimum amount of income. I have a cousin who's currently doing her doctorate in the University of Manchester, and even with the grants and the scholarship, she's struggling to live over there because it's so expensive. So okay, maybe I understand you. You have your very personal reason to live here, but it's not as easy, especially if you don't have, a very solid reason for you to live. I hope you achieve that, and I hope you find something. But you should ask yourself, why do I want to live, before starting how to live. I hope that's good enough.
Thank you. And I guess the question was like, how is it possible to like within the company to move around?
But the opportunities are always there. While I was in Nissan, I was assigned for 2 months on Japan. I lived there. I moved there. Well, I was living in a hotel, but I lived there for 2 months. I'm guessing it's related to how well you do your job. Uh, some companies have an opportunity to send you there, maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe months, maybe years. Again, do your research, check on the company, check if they are a local company, check if they are related to, their headquarters is somewhere else. And it's up to you. You need to find the opportunities within the company and you need to take them. I can tell you, I could tell you they are easy because I have found them easy, but somebody maybe within the same company will tell you, no, it's almost impossible. Nobody goes. You need to have a lot of, contacts. And in my experience, I can tell you that is not correct, but who knows? You are the owner of your own career path. So if you really want to do that, start looking and be different from everybody else, bring something new to the table. If you have the same skills as everybody else, then you are no different and nobody will consider you for such situations.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Professor Gonzalez, do we have time for one more question?
We have time for one more question. Yes, we do have. Mm.
It has to be quick, right? Because we only have like 2 minutes. Anyway, well, questions, quick, short questions. We're almost out of time.
I do have a question, but it's more like a curiosity. Can I make it?
If it's short, go ahead.
Yeah, it's pretty short. Luis, thank you very much for your talk. It was pretty interesting. My curiosity is just I'm really interested in the finite element analysis, just everything it takes from, everything of a static and dynamic standpoint. My question is just which area of Mexico would you think that might be the best fit for something that's close to the finite element analysis?
A lot of companies do that. I don't think it's related to the area in Mexico. Again, I think it's related to the company. And also do consider, I also found simulations interesting back in the day, but as a personal opinion, you again are the one to decide what you want. Don't, I would not close my panorama in just doing finite element analysis. Most of that is already done by a program. It is not relevant for you to do the analysis itself, but the interpretation and the implementation of those results. At this point in time, you can even outsource such an analysis because it's cheaper, and just we need engineers that are able to do something with such results instead of just doing the analysis. So you need to push that knowledge further. A lot of companies do that. In automotive industry, I would say maybe 80 to 90% do that. So it's everywhere. It's not focused on a single company.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Professor Gonzalez, I think we're out of time.
Yes, we are. We are running out of time. Thanks again, Luis, for accepting giving a talk in our STEM week. I think it was very useful to our students, mainly because we are graduating our first generation of students soon. So they are with all of the idea of job huntings and do's and don'ts, and how should my CV look like, and what should I do in an interview and things like that. So I think this topic was very accurate to the situation that many of them are about to experiment, right? So
Yep.
they're getting all of the preparation, like the academic part, but now they have to little by little go to the real world, right? So I think this, I hope they have an idea, and also it's always nice to hear it from a different source rather than your professors than that you have been learning from for a while, right? So having an external point of view, I think it's very accurate, and I found very interesting all the information you shared with us. And I want to share with you our certificate diploma that we have for our speakers.
Okay.
This it. We will make it. We will send it to you. We'll see which is the best way to do it. But thank
Okay.
you very much for
Appreciate it.
here we will, on behalf of the STEM Week committee, we are giving you this certificate of participation.
Appreciate it. Thank
And
you very much.
thank you very much again for joining us. And I hope that, well, I don't know, probably they can follow you in LinkedIn or anything like that in case that they
Sure.
any other questions or queries or any other point of view or perspective, like an outsider's perspective. Probably
Sure.
they can keep in touch following some of the tips that you gave today, right? Don't lose contact. So probably that could be one of the first things.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, my LinkedIn profile is with my full name. So if anybody want to keep this discussion alive or have extra questions that we were not able to tackle because of the time constrictions, feel free to do so. I'm always willing to talk.
Okay, well, thank you very much again. And well, for the rest of you, this is our last talk for the day. Tomorrow we start at 11. You get to see, let me show you the event, the agendas event. So to show you which are the talks that you can join tomorrow, right? So these words today. We start with process mining at 11 a.m. Again, use this same Zoom link. And if you don't want to join via Zoom, we're going to transmit the talks through the Facebook Live of the university. So you can also tune. there. And then at 12:30, we have another talk that is about of water. And you know that now it became part of the some commodities that can be traded in Wall Street. So we're going to learn about that. And we have also something regarding the wind turbine energy sector here in Mexico. Okay, so those are the 3 talks that we have for tomorrow. And I hope to see you, all of you, again, and even more people. So spread the voice, spirit message with more people. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again, Luis.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and see you later. Bye bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Claps, claps. Bye-bye.